Part 48. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 471. No matter how calm Muzi was, she couldn't help but blush in the face of Murong Cheng's grandiose flirting. If it wasn't for Gu Liang's presence, she wished she could stamp Murong Cheng's foot hard. This guy is really hateful. No need. Muzi maintained a decent smile. My driver is waiting for me outside, so don't bother you too. Is that so? What a pity. Murong Cheng smiled evilly. Miss Mu, goodbye. Muzi smiled and gritted her teeth. Goodbye. After Muzi left, Murong Cheng also found an excuse to leave. Gu Liang sat alone at the dining table. His whole body seemed to be shrouded in layers of haze, becoming gloomy. He sat for a while. Tongwu came over and said in a low voice, Miss Mu's driver seems to be Xiao Wang in charge. Gu Liang was silent and didn't make a sound. Tongwu continued, Ms Mu and Master Rong should know each other. It is an implicit statement to say that they know each other. To be more precise, the relationship between these two people is extraordinary. Xiao Wang, who plays an important role in the Huo family, condescends to be a female student as a driver? Who will believe it? It can be seen from this that Muzi is not only deeply loved by Huo Rong, but also holds a lot of weight in Huo Rong's heart, otherwise there is really no need to support a woman like this. Gu Liang didn't speak for a long time, unconsciously lit a cigarette for himself, and took a slow puff. There was a faint smog around him, and his brows were a little bored. Tongwu took a closer look at Gu Liang's expression, and said slowly, Miss Mu was born beautiful, and she is also very smart and transparent. She is a gentle lady and a gentleman. It is not unusual to attract some suitors. In fact, you don't have to worry too much about it. Didn't you see it? Gu Liang took another puff of cigarette and said in a low voice, Huo Rong came here specially today to demonstrate to me. Pursuing women is not about fighting for territory. Tongwu smiled. In the end, it's Miss Mu's will. There was a little smile in Gu Liang's eyes. He looked at Tongwu and asked, You really want me to pursue Miss Mu? Tongwu said very honestly, Master, women will care about their own destiny. Whether they want to be Huo Rong's lover who hides in the dark, or the young mistress of the Gu family, Miss Mu is a smart woman, she should know how to choose. Perhaps, she has already made a choice. Gu Liang's eyes fell on the seat where Muzi sat, recalling her appearance of brushing her long hair and pursing her lips. The pair of pink diamond earrings were worn on her round and small earlobes, setting off a small face that was bright, clean, and charming. He has a good eye, and that pink diamond really suits her. Unfortunately, the person who gave the gift was not him. It's unbelievable to think about it. It's rare to meet a woman who is tempted by someone else, and the other party has a lot of momentum. The corner of Gu Liang's mouth couldn't help but a faint smile. He didn't know whether he should be proud of his unique insight, or feel a headache because he met a strong enemy. Huo Rong is a lone wolf who entered Huo's house. He is both cunning and cruel. At the beginning, Huo Rong and Huo Zheng fought and plundered among the many heirs of the Huo family, and only then did they get to where they are today. Originally, he was supposed to support Huo Zheng to take the position of patriarch, but Huo Zheng had an accident. Huo Rong was unwilling to let go, and took down the position of patriarch with thunderous momentum, and has been safe until today. It can be seen that he is a character. Gu Liang is not afraid of such a person, but he never wants to provoke him. Just thinking of Muzi's bright eyes when he smiled, and his thoughts couldn't help rippling, lingering. Muzi sat in the car with a sullen face. The car drove forward steadily, but suddenly turned in the direction at the intersection ahead, and then stopped. The rear door was slammed open. Muzi's eyes were calm, and she didn't even glance at it. Murong Cheng sat straight in, picked up Muzi, and immediately kissed. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 472. When Muzi thought of his outrageous words and deeds today, he felt angry. He sincerely invited her to dinner, but Murong Chen made her feel nondescript, and couldn't even say a few words properly. I don't know how Gu Liang feels in his heart now. It must be very strange, right? What a shrewd person is young Master Gu. Perhaps she and Murong Chen have already seen the strangeness before. What would he think of her? A female student who hooked up with Master Rong? The more Muzi thought about it, the more embarrassing she became, and the more she thought about it, the more irritable she became. But Murong Chen doesn't care at all. My mind is full of dirty things, like an animal all day long. I just know how to hold her and kiss her endlessly. Enough is enough. Muzi bit Murong Chen's lips hard. Murong Chen let go of her, looked at her face, and asked after a while, "Are you angry?" "Of course I'm angry." Muzi stared at him coldly. "What are you doing here? Don't worry about sending Wang Zhan here. You have to make our relationship a mess, don't you?" Murong Chen explained, "I was afraid that you would be deceived by him. Gu Liang is cruel and merciless, he kills people without blood, but he likes to pretend to be gentle. I don't know how many women have fallen for him. He is not a good person." The tone was inexplicably aggrieved. Muzi got angry and cursed, "I don't know if he is a good person, but you are definitely not." "Why am I not?" Murong Chen hugged her tightly, and kissed her on both sides of the cheek. "Little heartless, I just rescued you from the fire pit, and you didn't appreciate it." Muzi pressed a finger on the tip of his nose, and tapped hard. "The biggest pit of fire is you." Murong Chen was not ashamed, but rather proud, and said with a smile, "That is also the fire of love burning for Zizi." Muzi was so angry that she was speechless. Arguing with Murong Chen will not lead to results, and will only hurt her more in the end. Muzi sighed helplessly. She found that she couldn't change Murong Chen. If she could, it wouldn't be Murong Chen. So she can only accept. While accepting Murong Chen's love and pampering, she also has to tolerate his brutality, rudeness, pervert, and disgusting. Muzi tried hard to think about Murong Chen's advantages, such as his filial piety, such as his good looks. It seemed like this made her less miserable. In a blink of an eye, it was February 20th, and the school started. During this period of time, another major event happened in Xinjiang City. Two uncles of the Huo family were sleeping soundly at home at night, when an explosion suddenly occurred, and everyone was blown to pieces. When Muzi heard about it, he immediately remembered what Murong Chen said. When he and Huo Zhen were in Xianghai City, they threw bombs in other people's casinos, scaring the gamblers so that they didn't dare to go anymore, and finally patronized their casinos one after another. Muzi felt that Murong Chen's methods were too extreme. She asked Wang Zilong in private, but Wang Zilong refused to say anything. Ever since he left out the matter of his fiancée last time, Wang Zilong's mouth became tighter. Even if he didn't say anything, Muzi could still guess. Murong Chen probably wanted to avenge the shooting at the airport last time. As for why he used such a tragic method, it might be to deter other people so that no one would think of Huo Lin again. He was really considerate to Huo Lin. Thinking about it, it tastes a bit. During the break between classes, she was sitting on her seat and thinking about things. The class leader came over with the form and asked, "Muzi, do you want to sign up for the language specialty class?" Muzi came back to his senses, and took a look at the form in his hand. There are foreign languages in their major courses, but if they can master another language, they will get extra points in the national entrance examination in the future, and some universities will give priority to admission, so almost all the students in the class have signed up. Muzi's eyes fell on the French item. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 473. She remembered that Chen used fluent French to make international calls with Huolin. Musei's fingers holding the pen tensed, thinking, although Huolin is studying in France, it's not that she can't speak Mandarin, why must she speak French with Chen? Is it to prevent her from understanding their chat? In Musei's mind, not only did he draw a picture like this, after the three met, Chen and Huolin had a passionate chat in French, while she sat aside stupidly, out of place and unable to get in the conversation. This is too bad. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle, and language will be the first problem she needs to overcome. I'm going to meet Holly soon. Does she need to learn French? At least I can't let my situation be too disadvantaged. But then I thought, if such an embarrassing situation really happened, Chen should be the one to find a solution. Why is she so active? If Chen knew, he might be so proud and arrogant. She has already swallowed her anger and accepted the existence of her fiancé. Why should she learn N.A. Lao Shi's French in order to please others? Musei suddenly became angry. Stop studying. Stop studying. She looked up and saw that the monitor left at some time, and the monitor returned to the classroom when it was time to start class. Musei asked, I don't want to apply anymore, can I still change it? The monitor was stunned for a moment, and said with a smile, the form has been handed over to the teacher, you can go to the teacher after class. Musei didn't want to go to the teacher. She thought it was troublesome, so she hesitated. In the end, I was annoyed by my own entanglement. Isn't it just to learn a foreign language? What's the trouble? Musei put aside her troublesome thoughts and didn't think about it anymore. At noon, she had dinner with Zhang Xinyuan, Zhuang Jie, and Wang Zilong. In the new semester, there are more new courses, and there are also many new gossip and new topics. Do you know, Zhuang Jie started the conversation, and said enthusiastically, Mrs. Fu didn't plan to pursue that matter anymore. The victim did not pursue it. The child was not injured. The police station did not file a case. Only Jiao Jingjia was detained for 10 days. In the coming day, let him go. Zhang Xinyuan was puzzled, Mrs. Fu is too magnanimous. Does she not mind at all? Jiao Jingjia not only harmed her child, but also had an affair with her husband. Secretary Wei said that the necklace was stolen by Jiao Jingjia, and he didn't know about it. Zhuang Jie smirked. If it's really a stolen necklace, how dare Jiao Jingjia wear it openly? Zhang Xinyuan didn't believe it at all, and frowned. Madame Fu is so pitiful, she was deceived by her husband. Maybe she knows it well, Zhuang Jie said in a casual tone, with a look of no surprise. The Fu family and the Wei family are married for the benefit, since they can't divorce, of course it's better if they don't tear themselves apart. Zhang Xinyuan couldn't bear this kind of hypocrisy. Her temperament, on an adult, is a bit blunt and pedantic like a literati, but she is only a 17-year-old girl, so it makes people think that she is stubborn and cute. I will definitely find someone I like to marry in the future, and I will never accept any marriage, Zhang Xinyuan said forcefully. When Zhang Xinyuan said this, for some reason, Wang Zilong looked up at her. Musei happened to see the scene and was stunned. She subconsciously went to see Zhuang Jie, but saw that Zhuang Jie was eating heartlessly. And Wang Zilong just glanced at it, and then withdrew his gaze. Musei felt something was wrong. Wang Zilong, doesn't he like Zhuang Jie? Maybe she was wrong. After the meal, everyone cleared up the tableware. As they were walking out, they ran into Lan Kexan unexpectedly. There was a bowl of soup on Lan Kexan's dinner plate. When she saw Musei, the corners of her mouth turned up slightly, evoking a sneer. She passed by Musei, and the moment she passed by, the dinner plate in her hand suddenly fell over. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 474. There is no conspiracy, no tricks, just malicious bullying that is not pleasing to the eye. Lan Kexan intentionally let the bowl of soup pour all over Mu's eye. The dinner plates and soup bowls fell to the ground, making a harsh sound of ping-pong, and many students looked over. Hey! What's wrong with you? Wang Zilong was furious. Although Mu's eye reacted quickly, but in the crowded student cafeteria, there was limited room to hide, and the soup spilled some, which wet the hem of her skirt, and she was very embarrassed. Fortunately, I dodged in time and didn't spill it on my legs, otherwise I'm afraid I'd be burned. Seeing that Mu's eye was fine, Lan Kexan felt a little reconciled, thinking that Mu's eye was too lucky. She snorted coldly, turned around and was about to leave, but Wang Zilong dragged her back. Want to leave? Come back and apologize, Wang Zilong asked ferociously. Did you do it on purpose just now? Tell me. Was it on purpose? Lan Kexan was dragged staggeringly, her heart filled with shock and anger. She is also a third-year student, of course she knows about Wang Zilong's notoriety, but she doesn't know that Wang Zilong would be rough on girls. Let go of me, she screamed, flustered, trying to withdraw her arm from Wang Zilong's shackles. Wang Zilong pinched her elbow tightly, pointed at Mu's eye and said, apologize to her. Hurry up. Lan Kexan felt humiliated. The pain that Mu's brought her was far more than a bowl of hot soup could relieve her hatred. She would rather die than apologize to Mu's. It's because she can't walk without eyes, Lan Kexan struggled and shouted. Both Zhuang Jia and Zhang Xinyuan knew about the engagement banquet last time, so they could guess Lan Kexan's intentional trick today. It was nothing more than wanting to take revenge on Mu's eye. It's my own fault, I'm ashamed to blame others. Zhuang Jia muttered contemptuously. Forget it, let's go. Mu's eye frowned, not wanting to be watched here any longer. Moreover, although Wang Zilong was fighting for her, but a boy who embarrasses girls in public is too inferior. Mu's eye couldn't persuade them, so he had to tell everyone to leave. But Wang Zilong is a scumbag. Before he left, he picked up the soup bowl from the ground, and flipped it on Lan Kexan's head neatly. Be careful next time, Wang Zilong threatened her before leaving. Lan Kexan was stunned. The remaining soup and vegetable leaves in the soup bowl slid down Lan Kexan's face, oily water and soup flowed into her hair and into her skirt. Ah! She broke down, violently swung the soup bowl off her head, and cried hysterically in the cafeteria with her head in her arms. In the afternoon, Lan Kexan did not return to class. Mu's eye felt that Lan Kexan should hate her 100 times more than before. Wang Zilong's hands and feet were so nimble, she didn't even have time to stop her, so she took the half bowl of soup. It is unimaginable for a famous lady to be treated like this in public. Her face will be discredited, and her injuries will be unimaginable. New and old grudges added together, Lan Kexan, the enemy, was finally forged. Mu's eye felt that Lan Kexan would definitely wait for an opportunity to retaliate against her, but she didn't know whether Wang Zilong would be implicated by this. You should be more careful in the future, Mu's eye told Wang Zilong. The Lan family also has some power, don't offend others, I will find a way to solve my problem. Wang Zilong laughed and said nonchalantly, don't worry, they dare not do anything to me. Zhuang Jia laughed at him from the side, hey, look, you're going crazy. Zhang Xinyuan thought more deeply than them, and said a little seriously, Zizi is right, we should be more careful in the past few days. They were all guarding against Lan Kexan's revenge, but they didn't expect that Lan Kexan was more eager than they expected, and what he did was even more unreasonable. The next day, the campus network of Green School went viral. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 475. An anonymous person uploaded a series of extremely large-scale AV photos to the campus website, and replaced the faces of every AV girl with Muzi's face through PS technology. Muzi's face is exactly like the photo on the student ID card, with different occasions and angles. The traces of PS are obvious. As long as you are not blind, you can tell that this group of photos is fake. But even if it is fake, the humiliating effect of the photo is exactly the same. Zhuang Jia and Zhang Xinyuan trembled with anger after seeing those photos. Lan Kexin must have done it. There is no doubt about this at all, otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that these photos appeared today just after a dispute occurred yesterday? Muzi felt that this matter was disgusting, but she didn't feel much anger. She just realized more deeply that Lan Kexin was crazy and reckless in doing things. It is strictly forbidden to spread pornographic content on the campus network. After discovering it, the administrator immediately deleted the post and froze the account of the user who posted the photo. The teacher finds Muzi and talks to her. The main purpose was to appease her and inform her of the outcome of the matter. She also said that she hoped to personally apologize to Muzi's parents. Muzi quickly shook her head. Whether Bai Wei or Murong Chen know about this kind of thing, the consequences will be disastrous. Outside the office, there was a sudden noise. The teacher didn't want to pay attention to it at first, but the noise outside was getting louder and louder. The sound of running footsteps continued, the voices of talking and shouting were mixed together. It was almost full of voices. What happened? The teacher opened the door, and the sound outside was louder and clearer. It was as loud as if the whole school had exploded. Another teacher ran over in a hurry and shouted, "It's not good." Wang Zilong dragged the girls around the playground. Muzi's heart skipped a beat, and she was secretly anxious. This Wang Zilong doesn't leave any room for things. Wang Zilong didn't come to school until late in the morning. At that time, the campus network had already deleted the posts, but he had many good friends. Those photos had been saved long ago, and secretly sent to Wang Zilong to see. Wang Zilong exploded at the sight of it. He ran to Lan Kexin's class, ignored her in class, grabbed her out, stripped her naked and dragged her to the playground to parade in the streets. "You like Lu's photo, don't you? Well, I'll let you take as many pictures as you want." Wang Zilong was not as sleek and sophisticated as Wang Zhan, but he learned Wang Zhan's insidiousness to the fullest, and arranged several people to take pictures of Lan Kexin non-stop. Lan Kexin was driven almost crazy. If she didn't go, they dragged her along by her hair. Lan Kexin cried and screamed, her naked body curled up in the cold weather, with snot and tears all over her face. She was devastated. The farce was finally stopped by the joint efforts of school teachers and security guards. Tortured Lan Kexin was sent to the hospital. And Wang Zilong was sent to the police station. Wang Zilong was in grade school and caused many troubles. He had never been in a police station, but this time he was locked up suddenly, which was actually a little strange. He wasn't afraid at all. His uncle would definitely rescue him anyway. Sure enough, on the night of his detention, Wang Zhan came to see him with a dark face. Wang Zilong proudly said, "Uncle, don't worry, I've dealt with that stinky bitch, and I won't dare to harm Miss Mu again." Hearing this, Wang Zhan's face became even uglier. He raised his hand and slapped Wang Zilong in the face. "You son of a bitch! You're going to piss me off. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 476. Wang Zilong was beaten. He covered half of his face, looked at Wang Zhan in front of him in astonishment. His mind was a little bit overwhelmed. "No, that's not it, uncle. Did you make a mistake? I was trying to vent my anger on my aunt. Why did you hit me? Wang Zilong felt that he had died unjustly. Wang Zhan glared at him angrily, picked up a piece of paper in his hand, and slapped it hard on the table. Notice of expulsion from school. Wang Zilong was stunned when he saw it at first sight. He has done a lot of things that violated school rules before: smoking and drinking, fighting and making trouble, gathering people to gamble, molesting girls, bullying boys, but the school director always turned a blind eye and closed his eyes. This time, the influence was probably too bad. Even with his uncle's support, the school couldn't tolerate him. Tell me about you, how do you grow your brain? Wang Zhan pointed at Wang Zilong and poked him on the forehead angrily. If you kill her without anyone noticing, I will obey you. But you, what's the matter with dragging the playground to the street? I'm afraid that others will not know if you did it or what. Ah! Wang Zhan scolded him. It's fun for you to vent your anger, but you caused panic, you know. Stupid. A female student who is studying in the classroom can be forcibly taken away by boys from the same school, stripped naked and publicly humiliated. This is a very terrible thing. The girls in the school who didn't know the truth were all panicked, fearing that this disaster would happen to them. The impact of this incident on the teaching order is very bad. And the parents can't bear it even more, paying so much tuition every year, and the result is that their children are studying in an environment where personal safety cannot be guaranteed. How can they bear it? With all kinds of complaints pouring in, the school manager had no choice but to take measures against Wang Zilong. What about Lan Kexin? Does she not have to be punished for posting random photos on the campus network? Wang Zilong said angrily. You stripped her naked. Can you still come back to study? Wang Zhan slapped him hard on the back of the head twice. He has already suspended school. It's cheaper for her. Wang Zilong curled his lips, looked at his uncle with an angry face, and said embarrassingly, Uncle, if you drop out of school, just drop out. Anyway, I don't like studying, and if I take the exam again, I will only repeat the grade. When Wang Zhan saw his unmotivated appearance, he became even angrier. He grabbed the dropout notice and threw it at Wang Zilong's face. If you don't like studying, can you stop studying? If you don't study now, you won't have a diploma in the future. What will you use to find a job in the future? Everyone else has a master's degree or a doctorate, and you can't even graduate from high school. Are you ashamed? No shame. The more he scolded, the more angry he became. Wang Zhan stretched out his hand and hit him. Wang Zilong ran away with his head in his arms, and shouted, What's the use of having a diploma? I will assist Master Rong in the future. As long as I can fight and fight hard. You bastard! Wang Zhan kicked his ass, directly kicking Wang Zilong to the ground. Wang Zilong fell and ate shit. He groaned in pain. After all, it is his own nephew. Wang Zhan's eldest brother left such a single seedling, and the lesson is enough, and if he really beat him hard, Wang Zhan would not bear it. He pulled Wang Zilong up, and said without hesitation, I will arrange another school for you, and you must finish the remaining half semester. If you fail to pass the university entrance exam, you can take the adult self-examination for me. Even if you pass the exam until you are 80 years old, you have to give me a diploma too. Uncle, Wang Zilong wailed, he would rather Wang Zhan beat him up again. You can't be so narrow-minded. A diploma is just a piece of paper, it can't explain anything. If you look down on someone else's piece of paper, then you can't even get a piece of paper back. What are you humming? Useless? Are you useless? Blessed to have each other in this life. Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 477. Wang Zhan gave Wang Zilong a hard lesson, and then led him out of the detention center. When he got back to the car, Wang Zhan's anger subsided a little, and he said to Wang Zilong, Don't think that you are embarrassed because you got angry with Miss Mu. Let me tell you, you are not smart about this matter. The Lan family is not a small door. Xiaohuo, they dare not deal with us, but they will deal with Ms. Mu. Ms. Mu is an adopted daughter of the Mu family on the surface. She has no power and background, and she is too easy to be targeted. You're bringing trouble on Miss Mu. In the future, Lan Kexin will blame Miss Mu for all this grudge. When Wang Zilong heard this, he panicked. Then, what should I do then? Uncle, I was so angry at the time, so I thought about retaliation, I didn't think so much. Wang Zhan scolded, that's why I told you to study. If your brain is not enough, you can make up for it by studying. After scolding, he sighed again and tried to persuade him, I have no other requirements for you. I just hope that you study hard, get a diploma, and find a job in the future. You don't need to earn a lot of money, but you are stable and down to earth. In the days of fighting and killing, Wang Zhan never wanted to let his nephew get involved. Wang Zilong's troubles this time were too big. For a long time, Gray School had been receiving inspections from the parents of the students, and the students involved in that incident were all punished. Actually, Mu Zi also disapproved. She wasn't afraid that Lan Kexin would hate herself, but she felt that there were many ways to get revenge, and there was really no need to use this way of insulting women. But Wang Zilong's original intention was to vent his anger on himself, and now he was expelled from school because of his friend's loyalty. Mu Zi couldn't blame him for anything, and even felt a little guilty. After all, he was also implicated by himself. Zhuang Jia and Zhang Xinyuan also had mixed feelings. Lan Kexin is unlucky, they will feel very happy. For example, the last engagement banquet was purely self-inflicted by Lan Kexin, but this time, they felt that Wang Zilong's actions were a little bit too much. But as a friend, I can understand Wang Zilong's anger at that time. Wang Zilong was expelled from school, and we couldn't see each other from now on. After school, the four of them made an appointment to have dinner together. It can be regarded as a practice for poor Wang Zilong. I heard that his uncle was cruel this time and wanted to send him to a fully closed military management school with very strict school rules. Moreover, there are mountains and forests in front of and behind the school, and there is no human habitation, so it is impossible to sneak out. The three girls all sympathized with him very much. When you miss me, you can burn paper for me. Wang Zilong felt that he had no way out, and drank the wine in his hand decadently, looking like he wanted to cry. There is no internet in that place, mobile phones, game consoles, comic books, etc. None of them are allowed to be taken, and I heard that in order to keep fit, we have to do a 20-kilometer training once a week. For recruits who enlist in the army, a 20-kilometer training may not be a big deal, but Wang Zilong is a soft-footed shrimp. Mu Zi still remembers that she once kicked Wang Zilong into the trash can. She was quite surprised at the time, but later found out that although Wang Zilong was usually crazy, he was actually a sick child since he was a child, and his bones gradually became stronger after graduating from elementary school. Your uncle is also doing it for your own good. He really needs to strengthen his training. Mu Zi persuaded him. On the other hand, Zhuang Jia patted him on the shoulder and comforted him, no matter how hard and tiring it is, it will only take half a semester. Grit your teeth, and you will get through it. Wang Zilong lamented, isolated from the world, how can I survive? Zhang Xinyuan thought for a while and said, although I don't have a mobile phone or a computer, I should be able to communicate, right? We can write to you. Wang Zilong's eyes lit up immediately, and he looked at Zhang Xinyuan burningly, okay. It's a deal. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 478. As soon as Zhang Xinyuan said to write a letter, Wang Zilong immediately revived on the spot with full blood. Anyone with a discerning eye can see how happy he is. Mu Zi. Did she misunderstand something? Muzi couldn't help but went to see Zhuangjie, and found that Zhuangjie had a happy face, and there was nothing unusual about it. Did she really misunderstand? Muzi was so confused, so when Zhuangjie went to the bathroom, Muzi hurriedly followed her, pretending to be nonchalant, and asked her casually, "When are you going to confess your love to your sweetheart?" Zhuangjie was taken aback by her question. Muzi reminded her, "When I went to Doshui village last time, the sorceress said that your wish will come true." Zhuangjie immediately lost face, and said angrily, "That sorceress is really a liar. I liked him for so long, but he married someone else." Muzi was shocked. Don't you like Wang Zilong?" "Ah," Zhuangjie's eyes widened in surprise, "I like Wang Zilong? Zizi, are you kidding me? How could I like him?" Muzi was more surprised than Zhuangjie, and blurted out, "But I always thought you two were a couple. Aren't you on good terms?" Zhuangjie was speechless for a while, and sighed with her forehead, "Zizi, sometimes you are very smart, but sometimes, oh. The tone is quite heavy." "Wang Zilong and I are pure buddies," Zhuangjie told Muzi seriously, "and the person he likes has always been Xiaonuan. How could you mistakenly think that he and I are a couple?" After finishing speaking, without waiting for Muzi to respond, Zhuangjie exclaimed again, "Oops, did Jinuan also misunderstand me and Wang Zilong? What can I do? Oh, I'm so sad. Both you and Jinuan's EQ need to be improved." Muzi Zhuangjie returned to the restaurant worried, probably because she was afraid of being misunderstood again, so she purposely sat far away from Wang Zilong. Zhang Xinyuan only thought that Zhuangjie was too crowded and didn't take it to heart. Muzi was very depressed, and when he lowered his head to eat the food, he felt a little bit disoriented. She remembered Yu Yang's evaluation of herself last time, and she wondered even more, is my EQ really low? Fortunately, she always thought that, she was the goddess of wisdom in people's hearts, but it turned out that was not the case at all. This little episode frustrated Muse's heart, and since then she has a deeper understanding of herself. The practical dinner finally came to an end. Wang Zilong went to pay the bill, but was told by the waiter that someone had already paid. All four were surprised. "Who paid the bill?" Zhuangjie asked in surprise. The waiter smiled and said, "It's a gentleman in seat 6. After hearing the words, they looked over and saw several men sitting at table number 6, and one of them happened to be Gu Liang. Gu Liang noticed their gazes, raised his eyes to look over, slightly raised the corners of his mouth, and nodded to them with a smile. They knew that the bill was settled by Gu Liang. "Young Master Gu is always so handsome and personable." Zhuangjie held his face and sighed, admiring Gu Liang's type of man very much. Wang Zilong was very disdainful, "It's not that I don't have money, I want him to be troublesome. This chain restaurant is under the name of Gu's. Gu Shao gave us a free order, which is a gentleman's demeanor." Zhuangjie detested Wang Zilong, thinking that he didn't understand anything. "I won't come here to eat next time," Wang Zilong pouted. Zhuangjie just laughed at him, "Do you think you can meet young Master Gu every time you come? Free every time? It's a good idea." Muzi silently observed the interaction between the two. Indeed, although it seems intimate, there is no subtle affection between boys and girls, and it is indeed more like buddies. Why hadn't she noticed it before? After dinner, it was already very late, and the four of them went home separately. After Muzi came home, she found Murongcheng sitting in the living room watching TV. This is really rare. Since school started, Muzi hadn't seen Murongcheng go home. She put down her school bag and took an orange from the coffee table. Murongcheng stared at her closely, frowned, and asked sinisterly, "Where did you go today?" "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 479. I was taken aback by his question. I went to have dinner with my classmates. I was puzzled. I called my mother. Cheng took her hand and asked her to sit beside him. Did you meet anyone? I peeled the orange and ate it, then shook her head. No. Really? Cheng's eyes were deep, staring at her face. His expression looked very serious, as if he was asking a very important matter, which made Musa feel puzzled. She thought carefully. Going to school today, after school, and having dinner together, really didn't meet anyone. No, I couldn't think of a reason. During dinner, there were only 4 of us. Cheng looked at I carefully, and after a while, he smiled and gently touched I's head. I'll just ask. I clearly met Yang, but now she can't remember who she met, not because she was lying, but because she didn't take Yang to heart at all, and completely forgot about it. Cheng had figured this out, that's why he smiled. Seeing that he had a smiling face, I couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief, then frowned and blamed. I thought there was something wrong. Aren't I worried that you will be abducted? Cheng took the orange from her hand, peeled and fed her petal by petal. The outside world is very dangerous. You are such an innocent and cute little sheep, it's too easy being missed. No matter how shrewd and capable I is, in Cheng's view, his woman is always a weak lamb, a pure angel, a goddess untouched by the worldly dust. Even if I lashes out at him and scolds him, he still finds it cute. Just thinking about the little baby he raised carefully, but being missed by other men, Cheng felt very unbalanced. It was as if I had painstakingly raised a small cabbage, and before I was willing to take a bite, it had already attracted many wolves to gather around the vegetable garden and stare at it. He wasn't afraid that Yang would rob him. People in big families seem to be able to do whatever they want, but in fact, the more senior they are, the more scruples they have. Yang would not go to war for a woman. However, even if Yang didn't act and just stood outside the vegetable garden and watched, Cheng couldn't stand it. Looking at the girl in front of her again, she was happily eating a piece of orange. Her cheeks were round and round, like an innocent child who is still young. Cheng couldn't help sighing. Little Bai, why are you so attractive? Cheng was very melancholy, but I felt that he was crazy. During dinner, Bai Wei smiled and said, in a few days, it will be Zizi's birthday. How does Zizi want to spend it? At the dinner table, I and Cheng were both taken aback. The two of them have never been concerned about birthdays, and Bai Wei is the only one in the family who remembers everyone's birthdays firmly. Cheng raised his eyebrows, and said indifferently, 17 years old is neither an adult nor a full-year birthday. What's so good about it? Why don't you push it back? Next month will be Easter, so we can celebrate together then. Bai Wei's enthusiasm was extinguished, and she was immediately unhappy. How can you say that? Every birthday is very important and meaningful. Thinking of her son's cold heart, Bai Wei stopped, turned her head and smiled and said to I, don't listen to your brother's nonsense. Zi, do you want to eat cake or longevity noodles on your birthday? Do you want to invite your classmates to come to your house for a gathering, get together? I was in a daze. Bai Wei asked again, and I came back to her senses, and said, there's no need to be so grand, Mom, just help me cook a bowl of longevity noodles. I picked up the rice grains in the bowl with chopsticks. Her ears turned slightly red. She didn't remember I's birthday, but she remembered her own birthday, which happened to be next month, the day before Easter. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 480. Someone once defined death, saying that a person will die 3 times. The first time is when he dies, biologically he is dead, the second time is when he is buried, he dies socially, the third time is when he is forgotten, when no one remembers him anymore, when he is truly dead, dead forever. After Suzy was reborn, she became Muzi. Although she was lucky to be reborn, she would feel pain in the face of her own death. When I think of myself leaving this world like this, and no one will remember me from now on, that feeling is both desolate and full of powerlessness. But someone still remembers her. Keep in mind her preferences, her wishes, her birthday. Muzi raised the corners of her lips, her heart was like a swaying flower tree in the sun, blooming brightly. Not only Murong Chang, but also Zhang Si remembered Suzy's birthday. Zhang Si called and asked Muzi if he was busy with his homework recently. If you have time, please take a day off and let's go out to play, Zhang Si said. Muzi smiled and said, they're all people who have died. What kind of birthday do they have? Besides, it happens to be Easter in those few days. Maybe there are other arrangements at home. Forget it. Muzi politely rejected Zhang Si's proposal. In fact, she was a little ashamed, because she had something to hide from Zhang Si. On her birthday, she planned to go to the villa on the mountain and spend it with Murong Cheng. Murong Cheng has done many things for her, whether it's for kindness or love, she wants to repay one or two. Zhang Si didn't care, and then chatted with Muzi about Jiao Jingjia. She has been miserable recently, like a mouse crossing the street, she can't find a job at all. I reckon, if this continues, she must be stuck in Xinjiang City. I can't go down. Where's her mayor's father? Muzi asked amusedly, don't you care about your daughter? Secretary Wei is a person close to the governor. Jiao Nan is just a small mayor. Unless he doesn't want to be re-elected this year, otherwise, he can try to offend him. Zhang Si's words were full of sarcasm. Muzi smiled and said, Jiao Jingjia is reaping the fruit of her own life this time, it seems that she will not be able to turn over. Jiao Jingjia was able to make a comeback after making small fights several times before, just like Xiaoqiang who couldn't be beaten to death. Zhang Si said, if she can make a comeback like this, then I will really admire her. Yes. Muzi smiled. At this time, Jiao Jingjia was indeed trying to turn the tide. It's just that her current situation is too difficult. She is restricted everywhere and blocked in everything. After thinking about it, she feels that the most urgent task is to solve the source of income. She asked Mu Zhenning for help again. But her integrity with Mu Zhenning has been overdrawn too much, and Mu Zhenning simply ignored it. Jiao Jingjia called again and again, until she sent a text message to Mu Zhenning, telling Mu Zhenning that someone was investigating the cause of Suzy's death, and Mu Zhenning finally answered Jiao Jingjia's call. Jiao Jingjia asked Mu Zhenning to borrow money. Mu Zhenning laughed angrily, Jiao Jingjia, you set up a stage to sing a big show at my Mu's house. I didn't settle accounts with you, so you still have the face to ask me for money. Jiao Jingjia begged bitterly, Zhenning, look at the past love. You made a mistake, we have no relationship. Mu Zhenning changed from his previous gentleness, and his voice was cold and stern, using money to do things, this is called cooperation of interests, and has nothing to do with love. Jiao Jingjia, since you accepted my if you don't have money, don't talk about love with me, it will make me feel that the money spent is not worth it. Jiao Jingjia has been hit too much recently, and Mu Zhenning's indifference is almost the last straw on her heart. She cried with a headache on the phone, Zhenning, I beg you.